Well, good morning. It is good to see you. It's good to be with you this morning. My name is Travis Akins. I'm one of the ministers here at Memorial Road. And if you're a guest of ours, welcome to Memorial Road. We're so thankful that you are here on this nice, cool, rainy morning. And I hope your time with us, your time in worship, hopefully your time in a Bible class or first cup here this morning is warm and receiving. I hope you feel right at home and you are encouraged through the message, through the worship, the message of Jesus Christ, through others here at Memorial Road. We're just so thankful for your presence here this morning. I want to ask a question to begin here this morning, and the question is what is the most outrageous thing someone has ever asked you to do? What is the most outrageous thing someone has ever asked you to do? It was a little over a week ago that someone asked me to sit and let pies get thrown in my face for money. We had our Walk for Hope event last Sunday evening. What a terrific event that was, and thank you to so many people, elementary age children and adults who put that event on. And I sat with Scott and Phil and had for $1. I thought it should have been more, but for $1 people paid and threw pies in my face for over an hour. That's pretty outrageous. I remember several years ago, before we moved here, my wife Laura asked me if I would, this was kind of around the end of a year, beginning of a new year, New Year's resolution kind of stuff going on, and Laura asked if I would consider being a vegan with her. No meat, no cheese. I negotiated for a week instead of 52 of them. I thought that was pretty outrageous of her to even ask that question, to give up my meat and cheese the way I like to eat, and that was a pretty outrageous ask. My wife Laura, most of my outrageous illustrations come from my wife Laura, by the way. My wife Laura, I've talked about before, she's the one that kind of got us into foster care by her outrageous question to consider that. My wife Laura right now is working out a plan for a screen-free summer at our house. No TVs, no phones, no tablets, nothing. And I'm thinking, how in the world am I going to watch baseball without a screen? Pretty outrageous things. And every one of us probably have one of those outrageous things someone's asked us to do, and we think, no, I don't know about that. That's pretty outrageous. What is that for you? If you have your Bibles or your devices, Mark chapter 1. The Gospel of Mark chapter 1. I want to look at a couple of verses here this morning because in Mark chapter 1, very early on in the Gospel of Mark and very early on in all four of the Gospels, we're going to pay attention to Mark's account, Mark chapter 1. Jesus comes along and asks a pretty outrageous thing of his disciples. We find ourselves early on in Jesus' ministry. Jesus has come out of 40 days in the desert of fasting and being tempted by the devil. And one of the first things Jesus does as he embarks on his new ministry is he begins to call certain guys into his ministry, his disciples. And here in Mark chapter 1, Jesus asks a fairly outrageous thing of his first disciples. I want you to imagine for just a moment you're at work. I know, but just for a moment, imagine you're at work. You're at your desk, you're on the job site, you're in a room with a patient, whatever it is that you do, you're there in that moment at work. You're going along with your day and you're doing your task and your work, your livelihood, and you're working along and I show up. I just walk into the room. I just walk into your office. I just show up out of nowhere into your office, into your job site, into the room, and I immediately ask you to put everything that you are doing down. You're about to go into surgery. Get up and let's go. You're about to finish the project you've been working on for a year. Put it all down and let's go. You're about to finish all these emails that have been backtracked. I am telling you to stop it and get up and let's go. far too many of us, that might be the most outrageous thing that I could do for you in your week. That I come in and interrupt your work, your day, everything that you're doing, everything that you're involved in, all the importance that it entails, and I walk in and tell you just to drop everything in that moment, get up, and let's go. I don't tell you where we're going. I don't tell you what we're going to be doing. I'm just telling you to drop it and let's start walking. That's exactly what Jesus does in Mark chapter 1. See, Jesus comes across normal, everyday folks just like you and me, and he enters into their workplace just like you're going to be tomorrow or later this week, and he interrupts them in the middle of their everyday task, and he asks an incredibly outrageous thing of them. Mark chapter 1, verse 17. Jesus comes across Simon and Andrew, and he says, "Come, follow me, and I will send you out to fish for people." Jesus enters into their life in the workplace of all places. He enters into their daily routines. These fishermen, this is their business. This is their livelihood. This is who they are. And Jesus enters into that account, into that moment. And Jesus' outrageous statement, "Come, let's go. Follow me. Let's get out of here." And if that's not outrageous enough, and I'm curious to know how you would respond if I showed up in your work and told you to drop everything and go. If that's not outrageous enough, the next verse is incredibly outrageous. Verse 18. At once they left their nets and followed him. Okay, so we can see Jesus coming in and being outrageous. If you read the Gospels, if you have any interaction with the Gospels at all, you understand Jesus at times can be pretty forward, pretty outrageous in his callings and his teachings. But these normal, everyday guys lean into the outrageous call of Jesus Christ. Mark chapter 1, verse 18 in the NIV says, At once they left their nets and they followed him. Now there's a nuance in this particular sentence that I want to pay attention to here for just a second. Because the NIV says, at once they left their nets and they followed him. That's a good sentence, but there's a little bit of a nuance, and it's actually a very important aspect of the sentence that we need to pay attention to here this morning. When I read this sentence, I had this visual of these two guys who are off the shore, off their boats, gathering their supplies, and at once they just kind of drop everything and they start walking. But I don't think that's exactly what happened. So a more literal translation of verse 18. So let's get rid of verse 18 from the NIV, and let's have a little more literal translation. Again, a little bit of a nuance here, but an important one. Immediately, without question, without hesitation, these guys, having left their nets, followed him. Now, here's the little thing that I want us to pay attention to. This is not a visual image of these guys who just leave everything, who just drop everything and follow. These are guys, these are everyday people like you and me who make the choice to leave their nets. It's not that they simply just walk and leave everything. It's that in a moment, in an instance, in an immediacy, these guys make a choice to leave their nets, to drop their nets, to fold their nets, put them away for one last time before they follow. Having left their nets, small thing, but it's also a rather big thing. Because there has to be this moment where these guys don't just start walking, they have to make this decision. And Jesus' outrageous calling to come follow me and I will send you out to fish for people, there's this moment of choice. There's a moment of decision here. And they didn't just drop the nets, they decide that these nets are not important to us any longer. There's this moment where these guys, these people decide that their livelihood, their jobs, their identity, and who they are as fishermen is not that important any longer. And so there is this immediacy to their decision, but there's also a decision that is made. And I think the visual is more so that these guys are holding Simon and Peter and Andrew. They're holding their nets. And they decide, this isn't them. This isn't who they belong to. This isn't how they're identified any longer. And they put them down. I'm guessing maybe they even folded them away before they walked and followed Jesus. Now, I think we have to pay attention to that. Because if I or anyone else showed up into your workplace and asked you to drop everything you are doing to follow them, we may be a little resistant to that. We may have a little bit that we don't want to let go of. Because this is who I am. This is what I do. I'm doing good things. I have important things, and we hold on to our nets. But I want us to understand, here in Mark chapter 1, discipleship is about giving to live. And here this morning, you need to give if you want to live. Think about the life that these guys have now entered into in this moment in Mark chapter 1, verse 18. This life of unknown, this life of curiosity, this life that they have no idea where it will take them and what they'll be involved in, this life of letting go, this life that they now embark in begins by giving. And not just giving, hopefully 10%. A little bit here and a little bit there. It's not just giving out of abundance. It is literally giving of their lives, their identity, their livelihood. They have dropped all that they are to follow into the footsteps of Jesus Christ. Life truly began in verse 18 for these disciples. Give to live. We as a church family are beginning today a new adventure. Our goal by July of 2018 is to send out 2018 people into the mission field to work. But before you can go, before you and I can be participants in the going aspect, into the following on the footsteps of what Jesus is asking us to do, we have to be people who give. Because if we're going and we're dragging our nets along, then you know what? We're not living into Mark chapter 1, verse 18, that disciples who truly follow. We have to be people who are willing to give abundantly and sacrificially. We have to be people who are willing to give to live. Here in just a couple of months, you're going to have a great opportunity to participate in sacrificial, abundant giving. John Wilgus is going to share some information about our Mission Sunday that is coming up here this July. John, why don't you come on up as he shares different ways that you can give to live.
Thanks, Travis. Good morning. There are 1,000 stories represented in the special missions contribution every year. Last year, if you will recall, we were incredibly generous, and the sacrifice of this congregation towards the special contribution was overwhelming. We had started out asking for one number, so our goal at that time was $720,000. And did we make that goal? We did, and we exceeded that goal. And the generosity of this congregation, of these hearts, allowed us to get up to $780,900. It was just really remarkable, and allowed us to be able to fulfill a lot of stories of people who we have prayed over, people we have prayed for, people we have prayed with throughout the world, and touched hearts in ways that we can't even imagine. And so today we have the opportunity to announce what the challenge is for us this year. And so we prayerfully request that you begin praying yourself about the goal that we have set, which is slightly more than what we gave last year. And so our goal is $798,800. What does that represent? In one case, it represents the work in India, where a group of congregations in India have purchased land, and they're looking forward to being able to build buildings, and they are coming with the ability to be able to bring their own money into this effort. And they've asked us to provide them with $6,000, and for that, they'll provide $4,000 to be able to take care of an 18 by 36 size building so that they can meet in. It's a one-time opportunity to help. In another area, there's a ministry work which is remarkable that is helping also in India, that is helping with surgery and with dental needs and with taking care of people in a physical sense. And they've asked us for $10,000 to be able to help with a surgical bay and to be able to help those folks be taken care of so that they can see the love of Christ represented in the hands and the feet and the work of those men and women who are helping. We also have been requested by the Lighthouse to be able to help with $30,000 to help offset the cost of pharmaceuticals. So as they care for people right here in Oklahoma City, that need continues to grow. And so we're being prayerfully asked to help there. The stories are remarkable. There is one line in our special contribution. It's $25,000. It's called Special Requests. Just this weekend, we have been asked to help with a special request. There's a Christian who was converted, who's become an amazing preacher for the gospel in a Muslim country. He was sentenced to death on Friday. The Supreme Court of that country agreed to suspend that sentence, assuming that he was able to pay a fine for preaching against the religion that he came from. So we've been asked if we could help participate there, to help get this man and his family out of prison, to make sure that he has a chance to continue to do what he feels called to do in preaching the news about Jesus Christ. Folks, we are at a crossroads in this world to be able to help in special ways. And so this special contribution, we pray, will help accomplish those things. Over the next few weeks, you're going to hear thousands of stories. You're going to see lots of opportunities for you to help, not just financially, but physically, to be there where people are needed. And we pray you'll do that. So thank you for considering that goal of $798,800. Travis has said I could have one more minute. And I just want to say, just on a personal note, the generosity of this congregation goes far, far beyond dollars. The things that you have done for our family in praying for Victoria over the last weeks have been unbelievable. We have seen how weak we are and how strong you all make us because of the prayers that you give and the power that Jesus Christ has to be able to help us heal. We are so grateful to you. Will you continue to remember her? She's home and she's doing well. She still has lung problems, but in her follow-up on Friday, the doctors said her heart was doing well, but her lung is still problematic, and so she's probably going to have fluids drained off again tomorrow. We could not imagine trying to do this without you, without the sacrifices of time and of prayer and of the knowing, saving grace of Jesus Christ that you help make real to us every day. So we thank you very, very much, and we're so grateful for the chance to be a part of this church family. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Will you please keep Mission Sunday in your prayers? It's in Mark chapter 10, just a few chapters later, that Jesus is approached by a man. Comes to him with a couple of different questions, and seemingly this man lives a good life, does good things. But at the end of the conversation in Mark chapter 10, Jesus tells the man that there's still one thing that you have to do. There's one thing that is holding you back. If we use the language of Mark chapter 1, you are still holding on to some of your nets. And Jesus tells the man he needs to sell all that he has before he can follow. You see, giving giving of our stuff and our money, giving of our time, giving of ourselves for the kingdom of God is life in and of itself. We can't be true followers of Jesus Christ unless we are willing to not just give out of abundance, but willing to give of who we are. Immediately, they followed him. After they had made the choice to give of everything they are, Mark chapter 1, verse 18. Before they can go, they have to give. And the disciples now living into the footsteps of Jesus Christ, notice that these gentlemen, these guys who follow Jesus aren't leading the way. They are paying attention to the ways of Jesus Christ. They follow him. And I thought it'd be a great exercise to just track the disciples in the Gospel of Mark and all the different and outrageous things that these guys go through by following Jesus Christ. And you can do that. Read Gospel of Mark tonight, 16 chapters, very easy read. And just pay attention to these 12 guys and all the different things that Jesus puts them in, asks them to do, teaches them. You see, when you and I are followers of Jesus Christ, we don't follow the things that you and I think ought to go. We follow the outrageous calling of Jesus Christ. We go to outrageous places because of him. So we give to live, then we can go to show. That's what being a disciple really is. If I can boil it down to one catchy little phrase, you go to show. You go to show who Jesus Christ is. You go to show the unending love of our God in that context with those people and these places. You go all across the world. You go across the street to show who Jesus Christ is to whoever it is you are with so that his transforming, unending love can be present where it was not before. We give to live so that we go to show. And you know what, church? We have so many incredible opportunities that are starting up today. Our Go Mission campaign begins today. Andy Lash is going to share some information about what that means for you. But if you want to share and show the love of Jesus Christ, you are going to be called into some incredibly outrageous campaigns to share who Jesus Christ is in this world. Andy?
Thanks, Travis. Last year on Mission Sunday, we really planted seeds by giving $50,000 to get Go Mission up and running. We're going to be asking for that again as part of our Mission Sunday in a couple of months, and we are so excited about being at the starting line for Go Mission. Travis is exactly right. 2018 by 2018, that's the goal, and that means we need everybody participating in that. We went into this wanting to have a breadth of options, all kinds of choices for people to make to do missions near and far. Missions does not just happen far away. There are ample opportunities to do missions right here at home. And so we have, to start off with, lots of local mission opportunities. That was one of our specific goals with Go Mission, was to increase even over what we did 10 years ago, the number of local mission opportunities that we had available to participate. So just really quickly rattling off some of those that you will see represented at our Go Mission launch fair today. We have things like helping our youth group in Serve OKC this summer. We have things like helping support missionary families and third culture kids through our intermission programs. We have projects that are going on through the Green Pastures Church that we've been partnering with in recent months and years. We have Cross and Crown Ministry that is a wonderful organization to partner with. We have the OK Kids Corral. We have new projects designed specifically for Go Mission for supporting military families, for supporting college students at state schools, for helping with ladies Ladies' Days at small churches. And we have ongoing Memorial Road ministries that have designed Go Mission projects specifically for this purpose. At Capitol Hill, through our international ministry, our prison ministry, World Bible School, Orvis Reisner Tutoring. There are even more than that, but that's a pretty good list to get you started. There are so many local opportunities. Everybody can find something to participate in, all ages, all abilities. In fact, while our start date is officially May 1, we had one group kind of get us up and running. Just last weekend, we had a Q group that went down to Camp Rock Creek in Norman to do a big weekend full of camp refurbishments and improvements and maintenance. And so you see some pictures of that Q group right there. You see one of them wearing their Go Mission t-shirt. Now, we fully expect that Matthew 28 is going to be your motive for participating in Go Mission. But if a t-shirt helps sweeten the pot, everybody gets a t-shirt that goes on a trip, and so we want everybody to participate. So those are some of the local opportunities, and that's kind of our home base. That's where we're going to start from, and from there it's just concentric circles outward. We'll also have opportunities at the state level, in the domestic level, in other parts of the country, and in the international circle as well. Right now I want to ask Jay Chapman to talk to us a little bit about that next circle out, opportunities in the state of Oklahoma. Jay?
Thanks, Andy. So there are a lot of opportunities in Oklahoma. I know a lot of people here in this congregation either have family or are from some of the rural places and places around Oklahoma. We've got a lot of projects that are already in the works that are ready to go. You'll be able to find some of those today. One of those is in Claremore, Hope Harbor, and the thrift store that they have there for at-risk families and at-risk children. That place is looking for people to come do maintenance and just general upkeep. Helping with the operations there. You can help with that. A rural congregation out in northwest Oklahoma, Sealing, Oklahoma, they're looking for assistance as well. In fact, speaking of rural congregations, I want to introduce everybody, if you don't already know, to Aaron Sechrist. Aaron is one of our leaders with mission projects with rural congregations in Oklahoma. Aaron, why don't you just talk a little bit about what congregations you're working with and how you're doing that?
Well, about 2 years ago, the Young Professionals class decided to start visiting small churches in the state periodically. And when I say small churches, I'm talking about like 10 to 20 people. We take about 10 to 15 people from our Bible class and we double their size. We run their Bible class and we run their worship service, and then afterwards they feed us lunch. So it's a great deal for both of us. We've somewhat adopted the Church of Christ in Depew. We've also visited the church in Maud and St. Louis. We're looking for other Bible classes to get involved in visiting these and other small churches, and this is an expanding ministry. You're about to see a video message from Mike Hearn from the Depew Church of Christ.
Hello from Depew Church of Christ, located in old Route 66. Our small town has a population of approximately 450 people. The church family here averages about 10 members strong on any given Sunday. To say we are small? Yes, with the exception of a couple times per year. On those special occasions, our family is blessed by the presence of the Memorial Road Young Professionals. Over the past several years, this group of Christian soldiers make the trip to lead our worship service. Speaking for the membership, please let me express our gratitude. On those visits, we are lifted up and encouraged. It is our hope, as you seek other small churches to lift up, you will always include Depew Church of Christ. And remember, you won't return home on an empty stomach. May God continue to bless you in this ministry.
Well, we've also got several domestic missions that I wanted to tell you about just a few of them. The Arbuckles are taking a trip to Wisconsin next summer. You'd be welcome to come along with them. You could also join up with one of our members, Macy Holsinger, and her group down in Shreveport, Louisiana, to work there for a couple days. She's part of a group that's going across the whole country on bicycle, stopping in various locations to build homes. Or you could also join with the Joneses as they take a group up to Yellowstone Bible Camp in Montana. Montana was a favorite destination of our 1000 in 2007 campaign. And then if you don't see something exactly like you like, you'd be more than welcome to come up with your own idea, like one of our Q groups did. Clint LaRue is here with me this morning. He's going to tell us a little bit about what his Q group is doing.
Yeah, our Q group is mainly young families, led by the Kincaids. Josh Kincaid is leading our group. We are going to Kansas City on Friday, July 14th, to participate with the church there in a VBS. The end of their VBS, it's on a Saturday. There'll be a block party. We'll help with that in teaching adult classes and plays and a carnival and a cookout there. So that will be on Saturday, July the 15th. And so, again, our Q group is young families. We're really wanting to make it intergenerational. And so we would like to have some older Christians whose children have already left their home come along with us. And so if you are available and you are kind of in that age group, we would love to have you join us and contact me or Josh Kincaid. I believe there's a message here from the preacher at the church in Kansas City about this opportunity.
Hello, everyone in Edmond, Oklahoma, at Memorial Road Church of Christ. My name is John Turner. I'm the preaching minister here in Kansas City, Missouri, at the Heartland Church of Christ. And we're excited to have a Go Mission team come up to Kansas City to help us finish strong our VBS on July 15th. You guys are going to help staff some games, sing some songs, put on a cookout, and even have a play that we're looking forward to. So God bless you all. We're looking forward to meeting you and seeing you and putting on this great event, helping out our community. God bless you all. Hope you're having a great worship service.
All right, so we've got the local circle, we've got the state circle, we've got the domestic circle. God's call for mission goes even beyond that, and we have some wonderful opportunities internationally to participate in as well. And we've got a pretty big list of those projects that are coming together also. We've got trips going to Brazil, a couple of different trips that are coming together going to Brazil, actually. We've got trips planning for Ghana, for South Africa. We've got trips hoping to go to Vienna, Austria, to Croatia. We are wanting to go to Tanzania. We are wanting to go to Honduras multiple times. We've got a group planned to go to Guatemala this fall to work with Health Talents International. I'm sure I'm leaving some off, but there's a long developing list of places and people that we want to go work with across borders. And so you may want to participate in one of those. You'll see those represented at the booths today at our launch fair. In fact, we are again getting things started right off the bat. While we have a group going this fall to Guatemala to work with Health Talents International, we also have a spring group that is actually getting us started on our international Go missions. They left yesterday, and Eric Trigestad and Eric Phelps, who are part of that group, sent me a couple of video clips yesterday. They're not the best quality, but given the connection that they had to send those to me, it will work. So take a look at this message from our first
Memorial Road. We're sorry we can't be with you this morning, but we are on our way to Guatemala, headed to the mountains of Guatemala to the town of Chichicastenango. We're taking a group of OC students, physicians, dentists, and we're going to do some medical evangelism in different churches, working with the local churches and the congregations there. We're really looking forward to this trip. Hopefully the weather doesn't delay us. We'll be there for a week, providing medical clinics for a lot of different people in the region, learning a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of Quiche, and we're going to see if we can communicate as well as we can. So we hope to be back with you next week. Thank you. Hey, Memorial Road. We've made it to Chichicastenango. We have the whole team here. We're ready to worship with the church here in Chichi. Monday morning, we're going to head out to multiple churches where we'll set up mobile medical clinics and do both medical and dental procedures there, as well as worship with the congregations. And we're really looking forward to it, and we are excited for Go Mission.
Well, we're really excited to get Go Mission launched this morning, and so we wanted to invite all of you to be part of the Go Mission Launch Fair, which you'll see out and around the auditorium this morning. There you'll find all kinds of information about some of the local, state, domestic, and international missions that we've briefly touched on this morning. And as has been mentioned many times before and again this morning, the goal is to get more than 2,000 of us to go on missions in the upcoming year. And so that means each and every single one of us needs to be figuring out when and where we'll go. And hopefully as you see these things, you're past the point of thinking if you'll go, but where you're going to go. We also know that, as Andy said, missions doesn't just happen far away. You may not be able to spend a lot of money to do that as well. We've got something for everyone. And if some financial assistance would be of help to you, we have been setting aside some money for scholarships in last year's Mission Sunday contribution, and we'll do that again this year. You can find information about that at each of the booths outside the auditorium, as well as on the MRCC app or the new Go Mission website, which Jay's going to tell us about here in a second.
Okay, well, first, maybe if I can just take a second to unpack kind of what you've seen. A lot of you have seen a lot of the things that are kind of outside and here just along the exits as you're entering this morning. You've seen kind of what's going on. So the fair, the fair, there'll be a map. There'll be maps available. I think at the exits, there's also maps in the back of where all the booths are located and what they're about. Our encouragement for you, well, there's one right there. Our encouragement for you this morning is that you would go around to each of these booths, that you would investigate, that you would ask questions, and that if you are interested, even in the least, we're not necessarily asking for people just to say, yes, I'm absolutely ready to do this, but even if you're just interested to try and get more information because you kind of assess it yourself, sign up for these mission projects. Sign up to get more information. If you are eager and just ready to go ahead and sign up, absolutely, go ahead and do that. This is the time to do that as well. Greg and I, Carrie and Amy are going to be down front, along with the Joneses, with some of the missions that are represented right here that actually need leaders. There are missions to Croatia, where the missionary there, Mislav, is needing people on various projects there. In Vienna, in Sealing, Oklahoma, which we just mentioned a few minutes ago. These are places where they're asked, the situation is people are ready to have people come and help. So what we're needing are leaders to kind of, be the front people for those projects, get them organized, and get people to go with them on those projects. So please come see us down here. Greg mentioned the website. The website has just been launched. It's gomissionmrcc.org. So that's gomissionmrcc.org. There you'll find information as well as to what's going on, where the missions are headed. You can sign up. You can ask for more information at the website. You can also do these things on the app through the app as well. The website will be our main focal point for that. So it's not just something that you have to do today. Today is just the beginning. It's just the start. And so we're kicking it off with a bang here. Lots going on, many opportunities, but either through the website, through the app, through either talking to any of us or the project-specific mission leaders, or just emailing us at gomissionmrcc@gmail.com. You can email us there. We'll be happy to answer any questions. So, and if you do have any questions, Greg and I, Carrie and Amy will all be down here this morning as well. Happy to help.
If that doesn't excite you or scare you, you're not alive right now. There is nothing more gospel than the last 10 or so minutes that we have shared and shown and tried to present to you here this morning. This is Mark chapter 1. This is discipleship. Jesus calling you into his kingdom, to his work kind of stuff. And it ought to be a little scary. It ought to seem a little outrageous. You know what? There's one more word that we need to pay attention to as we wrap up here this morning. This morning's lessons, give and go. We've looked at give, to live, go, to show. But we need to pay attention to the and in this. The and. Some of us are going to be listening to these things, these opportunities, and we're going to be thinking, well, I'm just not called to do that. I just can't do that. And if we're quite honest, some of us are just going to say, I don't want to do that. But in Mark chapter 1, Jesus doesn't call his first disciples and say, hey, you make a choice. Do you just want to give me some money, or do you want to go along with me? Jesus calls his disciples into both areas. And that doesn't change in 2017. Jesus calls me, he calls you to not just give to live, but to go and show. You see, so often you and I will come up with great reasonings why we can't do something. Well, I'm this old. I have this condition. Well, I have this many children. I have this going on. I have this at work. And we'll come up with a great list. We can justify and excuse with the best of them. I am at the top of that list. But Jesus calls his disciples, and they have to make a choice. Are you going to hold on to the nets, go with what you're comfortable in, or will you put them away and go wherever he leads you? You know what? This may seem like an incredibly outrageous ask, but your church is asking you, it's calling you to give and to go. To follow into the footsteps of Jesus Christ, and it may be here in Oklahoma City, and it may be on the other side of the world. But wherever Jesus is taking you, don't ignore, push aside. Don't just take this calling and say, well, it's not for me, because it is for you right here, right now. This church wants to be along with you. We want to be with you every step of the way. You know what? There are some here this morning that are wondering, what exactly does it look like? What does it mean to follow Jesus Christ? I'm going to make myself available down front here this morning. Maybe you have questions. Maybe you just want to know what it looks like, what it means in my life to give and to go. What does it look like to give my life, to follow him every single day, not just in special mission trips? Perhaps today is a day, maybe you've been thinking, maybe you're called here today to not just give and go, but to be called into the new life, into the waters of baptism. There are all kinds of needs, and if there's whatever that need may be in your life, I'm going to make myself available right down here. I want to invite you to come find me during the singing of this next song. I invite you to respond. I invite you, whether you come down front or not, to respond to the calling to give and go. Let's stand together as we sing.